Greetings, loved ones. No one wants their child to be a victim of a child predator. But how does one protect their children from child abusers? Particularly now with internet predators, caregivers may feel helpless. But there are steps that can be taken to protect your child from child predators. Today, we are going to talk about how to protect your children from predators. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You could save a life. So let's talk about how to protect your children from child predators. Let's look at the steps that can be taken to protect your children. Reducing the risk of child offender victimization. We're going to start with this. While nothing a caregiver does will absolutely prevent child sexual abuse, there are steps you can take to reduce the risk of child offender victimization. Consider these steps to protect someone you love from child predators. Be watchful. Always be on the lookout for situations or behaviors that seem dangerous or suspicious. Always know where your child is. Monitor online activities. Know what your child does online to prevent access by online child predators. Check policies. Check child protection policies at organizations that interact with your child. For example, what is the policy on screening the people that coach soccer? Does the organization check the sex offender registry? Be with the child. Accompany the child to public spaces like washrooms, stores, and activities. Another thing you can do is communicate. Be sure the child understands that he or she can tell you anything, even if they are afraid. And rehearse it. Use what-if scenarios to be sure a child knows what to do if a questionable situation arises. For example, what would you do if you played a game with an adult that made you feel uncomfortable? Or, what would you do if someone touched your private parts? Teach your children assertiveness. Teach a child how to stand up to a child or an adult in an assertive manner. Make sure a child understands that being a good child doesn't mean just blind obedience to whatever an adult says. And it's important to teach accurate names. Label the body parts using the correct terms and use accurate names for sex acts as developmentally appropriate. Make sure the child knows that it's not okay for someone to touch his private parts. And then you want to model appropriate behavior. Show a child what a healthy relationship between an adult and child should look like. Adults are not interested in child companionship and friendship. Children are friends with other children, and adults are friends with adults. So let's look at behavior that may indicate a sexual predator. If a sexual predator is already in the life of a child, there are behaviors that can tip off a caregiver. An offender is always going to look for access to the child and time alone with the child, and any adult looking for these things in unreasonable amounts is suspicious. Let's talk about signs of a child predator. According to the Canadian Centre for Child Protection, things a child predator might do include seem overly interested in the child or become fixated on the child, create opportunities to be alone with the child. They give special privileges to a child, like rides to and from practices, etc. They befriend a family and show more interest in building a relationship with the child than with the adults in the family. They display favoritism towards one child within a family. They find opportunities to buy a child gifts, and they cater to the interests of the child, so a child or the parent initiates the contact. None of these behaviors in and of themselves prove that a person is a sexual predator, but together they may make a caregiver suspicious. Overall, the most important thing to teach your child is personal safety and create a safe space for them to tell if anything bad has happened. Child predators are much less likely to target children they think will talk about the abuse. According to the CDC, over half of all the children in the world, that's 1 billion children, ages 2 to 17, experience violence every year. The question is not if you will encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. Micah 6:8 says, He has showed you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. There is a way out. It is not your fault. Abuse is not love, and you are not alone. If you are suffering violence, reach out to someone today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. If you know of a child or other person suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we will talk about mistaken beliefs that block awareness. Until then, God bless you.